My name is Helen Lynn. I'm from Stevenson Ranch, California, and I am the grandmother in this case. During an intact marriage, physicians diagnosed child sexual abuse based on 5-year-old son's torn, bloody rectum. This is a court finding. The court found father sexually abused son and daughter, including, but not limited to, repeatedly sodomizing and forcing oral copulation. The perceived harm is specific, horrific sexual assaults perpetrated many times, skillfully concealed. That's the court finding. The custody decision states, this court finds testimony strongly supports a change of custody to mother would be in the best interest of the children, supported by concerns expressed in testimony by police. But judge ordered sole custody to father. If a father sexually abuses his children, it is a slam dunk. That father will get sole custody. We have hands-on experience with our grandchildren suffering. We saw blood in Lynn's panties, wiped away her tears to calm her traumatic emotional state when Lynn told us her father's pact about secrets. Lynn described was her sole responsibility to not have anyone find out about the abuse. Mac's trauma was even worse. When Mac talked about being abused, he collapsed onto the floor. Harvard University child abuse expert discussed similarities between the Penn State sex abuse cover-up and the nation's family courts. Kane, K-A-N-E, County, Illinois, state's attorneys covered up the sexual abuse and criminally charged mother of not following family court orders. At trial, Judge Gallagher would not allow mother a defense, ruled no evidence of abuse and no witnesses were allowed. The judge sentenced mother to 12 years in prison with a $25 million bond, despite Department of Corrections' recommendation of no time served. In the interest of promoting transparency and acknowledging the profit and greed aspect of abused children, I am addressing dangerous laws that make it impossible to protect children. I disagree with the University of New Hampshire's federally funded Crimes Against Children's researchers' statistics claiming there are declining trends in child victimization. And that would be David Finkelhor, who is going to talk at the conference, at the Penn State Child Sexual Abuse Conference this October. Here are the reasons why I disagree. There are child abuse laws, but child abuse by a parent laws are different. If there are custody issues, child abuse by a parent is litigated in divorce court, not criminal court, under family law, not criminal law, where all representation of abuse is labeled parental alienation, and custody is awarded to the abusive parent. If there are no custody issues, child abuse by a parent is litigated in dependency court under welfare codes. The one and only law mandated by legislation is reunification. So once a parent is found guilty of abuse in dependency court, the goal is to reunify the abused child with the abuser. Children are often reunified with the abuser until they are abused to death. See 2-year-old Victoria Sandoval's case. And Victoria is spelled Vyctorya, her first name. Illinois Child Protective Services, here's another reason why children can't be protected. Child Protective Services cannot invoke the jurisdiction of dependency court and cannot invoke a no-contact order, only request a sexually abusive father agree to go on voluntary no contact. The UCCJEA, the Jurisdiction Act, is based on the parent-child relationship. The only inquiry is the status of the parent left behind. Despite court-appointed psychologists concluding it was emotionally destructive for my grandchildren, Mac and Lynn, to have contact with their father, emotionally destructive for them to have contact with their father, the children were ordered back to their father, at which time the children ran away. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children does not discern children running away from abusive fathers from children being missing or exploited. United States Marshals broke down the front door, pointed semi-automatic rifles at skinny little Mac and Lynn, pinned them on the floor, and handcuffed them. The next day in Illinois, United States Marshals in Judge Hardcastle's courtroom championed Father Brian Strelyoff and parental alienation. Child Protective Services' unsubstantiated findings are not the same as false allegations, yet warrant divorce court to award abusive parents custody based on case law. Under the scrutiny of Los Angeles County Child Protective Services, 35 children a year are abused to death from unsubstantiated findings of abuse. The National Cathedral in D.C. published an article bragging only 6 priests out of 40,000 were substantiated findings. 6 priests, but over $2 billion was paid out. Katie Tagle, accompanied by police with evidence, pleaded with judges to issue a protective order because father threatened to kill baby. Using parental alienation, the judge ordered custody turned over to father, resulting in father, Steve Garcia, killing 10-month-old baby Wyatt. Joyce Murphy's representation of abuse led to Judge Salcido awarding father custody of their daughter based on parental alienation. In an attempt to protect daughter, Joyce was convicted of a felony. 6 years later, father was convicted of molesting little girls. Judge Salcido explained she was trained by California Judge James Mize, who trains all family law judges in parental alienation. The overwhelming, pervasive assumption that mothers lie about abuse cannot be overcome by facts, evidence, or logic. To help clarify, Senator Cedillo, ready to vote to pass the incest law, responded to complaints from judges that giving up the right to grant preferential treatment to in-family child molesters set unfair limits on their judicial discretion. The incest law was passed, but it's only symbolic because judges have discretion and are not enforcing the incest law. The Family Law Quarterly found custody evaluators and minors' attorneys do not consider child sexual abuse as a factor, instead cite parental alienation as a major determination in recommending custody to abusive fathers. The Department of Health and Human Services is the federal agency responsible for the safety of the nation's children. Their policy to the nation's child protective services is to not investigate child abuse if there are custody issues. The national family courts are awarding custody to fathers that incest their children or batter their spouses, while good, fit mothers are court-ordered supervised visits or no contact. I would like to call for congressional intervention on the nation's family court judges to answer the question, why are judges awarding custody to abusers? Could it be because of federal funding connected to the Fatherhood Initiative? Or is it power, profit, and greed that fuels the abused children industry? Los Angeles County Child Protective Services annual budget is $1.7 billion. The end.